Key points on maritime and cyber. Some things that you will hear about cyber, given the fact that most of you are cybersecurity professionals or researchers, don't really apply to this audience, but it applies to the audience of maritime operations. Here you will see the word cyber and its origin. Has a lot of English words, actually, especially in the scientific domain. Cyber comes from the Greek word kiver, which means captain, which means govern. I don't know how it has been related, the word cyber, with the electronic and information technology devices. As far as I know, firstly, it has been used in a book almost 20 or 25 years ago. But anyway, this is not our point, this is not our subject. The point here is that even in its terminology, the word cyber has a lot to do with the maritime captain entity and how it governs his assets. The truth is that the maritime domain is highly connected to technology, and unfortunately the awareness on cybersecurity needs and challenges in the maritime sector is low to non-existent. One of the reasons for this may be the low number of known cybersecurity incidents incurred within the sector, which did not create sufficient media exposure to trigger specific or bold actions against cyber threats. However, the economic effect and risk is 90% of Europe's external trade is carried out at sea. These are numbers that indicate how important is the maritime environment and the cyber domain that includes in its environment. 84,000 vessels, the EU fishing fleet accounts for some of 84,000 vessels, and the EU's maritime regions for some of 40% of its GDP and population. Under the Horizon 2020 framework, we have the fact that the previous years invested were made in the physical security on ports and infrastructures. And in the Horizon 2020, there are two areas related to the maritime interest: the cybersecurity and the critical infrastructure protection. Therefore, we should take this opportunity to research and invest in maritime cybersecurity. Here you can see a list of systems that apply on cyber domain and included in the maritime environment. I don't want to say more on this because I don't have the knowledge to comment on these systems. The fact is that they all use IT assets and infrastructure. Specifically for the AIS, the Automatic Identification System, there is a question of the reliance as a maritime security tool. It has recently been demonstrated that spurious AIS signals can be transmitted showing vessels to be far from the actual location and on incorrect courses and speeds. AIS signals can also be generated showing phantom ships displayed on your ECDIS. In one recent demonstration, a group of researchers using cheap radio equipment showed they could hijack a system used to track shipping vessels worldwide, causing fake vessels to appear, real ones to disappear, and to issue false emergency alerts. Another threat and known cyber attack that affects the maritime environment is the GPS, and not only the maritime environment, of course, is the GPS spoofing. It's possible to spoof global positioning system and other space-based positioning, navigation, and timing services. As with AIS, these timing services must incorporate an authentication system or adopt other measures to avoid accidental or intentional presentation of erroneous data. There is a growing threat to maritime safety, security, and environmental protection from the over-reliance to electronics to accomplish its operational tasks. For example, some shipping companies seeking greater efficiency are tuning to e-navigation. However, this is highly risky and there are already known threats that can compromise these systems. Here are some examples of criminal attacks against maritime environment. First, it's piracy. Many mariners are concerned that using AIS can facilitate criminals and pirates targeting their vessel and frequently turn AIS off when they are transiting through higher risk waters. Thus, the vessel is not AIS visible to other vessels, causing confusion by its disrupted AIS service. The other threat is smuggling or the thefts. Recently, a breach allowed hackers to access secure data, giving them the location and security details of containers, meaning the traffickers could send in lorry drivers to steal the cargo before the legitimate owner arrived. This, of course, is a data confidential information breach that indirectly affects the maritime operations and environment. However, both are existing threats that do have a severe impact on maritime operations and safety. ENISA, European Network Information Security Agency, recently published a study concerning the maritime safety and protection in the cyber domain and how cyber domain is integrated to the maritime environment. And in order to improve cybersecurity in the maritime sector, proposed these next steps classified as short, mid, and long-term priorities. Short-term, it indicates to stimulate dialogue and information exchange between key stakeholders in the maritime sector and connected stakeholders. Raise awareness about the criticality of this subject, as cybersecurity is currently not being sufficiently considered within sector, and to develop strategies and good practices defining requirements for ICT implementations in the maritime sector. Under the midterm priorities, it highlighted the necessity for developing appropriate cybersecurity trainings, define roles and responsibilities towards cybersecurity in the sector at European and national levels, define and implement holistic risk-based approach to address the subject of maritime cybersecurity, and take appropriate measures in order to add considerations towards cyber in regulatory frameworks governing the maritime sector. And finally, under the long-term priorities, highlighting the development of standards and enforcement regulations ensuring the achievement of cybersecurity within the maritime sector, to develop information sharing and analysis at national and European level based on the ISAC model, align and harmonize international and European policies on maritime cybersecurity requirements, and take appropriate measures in order to add considerations towards cybersecurity in the existing regulatory frameworks applicable to the maritime sector. As you can see, not many differences comparing to other cybersecurity strategies from national to organizational level. Although technology has advanced at a rapid pace, security and resilience have not kept us with these advancements. The world's economy depends on the shipping industry, which in turn is equipped and dependent on critical systems and processes, such as electronic navigation. And right now, there simply is not enough emphasis being placed on maritime cybersecurity. So, the point of this presentation, overall, in a nutshell, is to highlight the need, the necessity for raising the cybersecurity issue as a high priority issue within the maritime environment, within the maritime operations, in order to provide more secure and more safe activities within maritime environment. Thank you very much for your attention once again, and the floor, Ivona, is yours. Thank you.